Hello, 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 and welcome to Soul Sisters. How is everyone doing today? We hope everyone is blessed. We thank you for joining us on our broadcast once again. We ask you to please like and share. We have someone excellent on our platform on today, a credit coach that I'm sure that everyone can benefit from the information that she has. So please, please, please don't keep this to yourself. Like, share, so someone else can be blessed. We're so happy here to have our sisters with us today. We have Pastor Christina Staten, we have Pastor Barbara Jackson, and we have Evangela Flossie Berry. Hello, 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 hello. Before we go any further, we're going to ask for Pastor Christina to lead us in prayer.
All right, good evening, everybody. Let's just pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this session with these awesome sisters in the Lord. Father, we thank you for all of the information and insight and wisdom that we're going to receive tonight. We thank you for our cities, our states, our nation. We thank you, Lord God, for healing in the land. And we just give you glory for all that you are and all that you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, she's our regular. There go your Bree. How you doing, Bree? So how's everybody been doing?
Great.
How's everybody holding up in this heat?
Oh my gosh, it is extremely hot. Don't want to complain because, you know, I prefer the heat versus the rain. But various things have been going on within the world and stuff like that. And I don't know if you all heard this one thing as far as Donald Trump's niece has written a book. Did you all hear about that?
No, I heard about it, but I don't know what's in it.
Well, basically,
yes.
His niece is called Mary L. Trump, and her book is entitled "Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man."
Wow.
And that I know of, they were trying to keep this book from coming out, and she basically speaks about how she, you know, again, this is her speaking about how he's like a boy in a man's body. And she talks about his relationship. She's a clinical psychologist. And she talks about his relationship with his father and how it really wasn't a good one, how his father was more self-absorbed and basically pretty much into himself versus, you know, of course, his children. And that's how he raised them, with a very stern hand. And she also just basically said how, you know, that's, again, why you see our president pretty much explain some of the things that he's explained. And he kind of denied, and his thought was, or what he basically stated was that, you know, his father was a good man. He treated them well, and he had a good relationship with his father. So that's his rebuttal against the book. But they're still trying to fight it, even though I think they said, I forgot how many copies have already been printed. People have already been purchasing, but they're still working to try to fight, I guess, from keeping the book from coming out. Like I said, although it is out, they're still working to try to keep the book from coming out and the things that she's saying against the family. So she's considered the black sheep.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, who would have thought, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you wonder, is this really going to make a difference? Because despite everything that we've heard about the president, you know, it seems like his population, for those that support him, has not changed really that much. And so I don't think really, you know, this book coming out, you know, I guess there's some stragglers, but, you know, I don't know how much that's going to deteriorate his, you know, potential and to possibly, you know, still, you know, running a qualified race.
Right, because I think she wants basically people to see that this is the true character of the man, and this is how he was raised, and this is why he's like he is. So it's a display of.
I want to say that I didn't realize that we was going to take a political shift tonight, but since we have taken a political shift, I just want to be clear about where I stand on these issues. While I don't agree with a lot of the things, a lot of the decision making that has come out of the White House, particularly from our president or from other presidents in the United States, I just want to be clear in saying, as a woman of God, my position is prayer. It's always been prayer, and I'm just not an advocate of openly desecrating any of our American leaders. I'm not an advocate of that. I lived in a foreign country for many years, and one of the things living in England that really I marveled at was the level of respect that they had for the Queen. And I do think that, you know, even though we know that we don't have the best president, the best person in the White House, to see any president bashed this way in American society is a heartbreak.
Yeah.
And when we
Yes, it
do that,
is.
we send a message to other nations that we are indeed weak and that we are a nation without honor. And so I just want to be clear in saying that, you know, I just believe in honor. I believe in praying for those who have authority over us. And, you know, that's my position. And, you know, I have strong political positions, and I don't really want to get into a strong political conversation. But I do think that when it comes to politics, as women of God, we have to be very wise in how we navigate through these very murky waters.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
exactly, that's what it is. Very murky.
Yes.
Right, right,
And
right,
you know, the things that I've seen in me, I said, God, heal our land, heal
right.
our president, our elected officials, because they're there representing us.
They
And
need
so
the wisdom
even
of
though
God
we
and to
may
be
not
saved.
like it, but we must pray. So we know what to pray about. What
Yeah,
are these
yeah.
issues that's going on in our land? Because we all, the truth of the matter, we're all being affected by whatever decision anybody makes, whether it be our
Amen.
local government, international government, or whoever, whatever state it may be. And so we should come in a place of prayer. But listen, what is going on in Florida?
With COVID?
The numbers has hit the roof.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
now called the epicenter.
Right.
Wow. Well, you know, they were talking about they opened up Disney, and I was gonna even ask
Right.
you, like, how do you feel
Still.
about that? Like, that's, you know, I mean, they say they're gonna practice, you know, everyone has to wear a mask, safe distancing, but at the same time, how do you feel about that? You know, living in Florida, and again with them opening up Disney.
I think that I have great compassion for you all right now. I'm surprised that, you know, your leaders haven't taken a more aggressive approach in closing things down
Okay.
again, you know, because really the world was looking at us in New York. We were in
It
isolation.
was.
Yes,
Like
we really
our
were.
governor had us on, like he really, I have to give him credit for how he handled the pandemic and, you know,
Yes.
navigating us through that situation. But I tell you, you know, I marvel that they haven't made taken more aggressive approaches in Florida. And, you know, your numbers are just going to continue to rise with the, you know, I know they made small steps here and there, but I'm praying for you because I know what we went through here in New York. And let me
Yes.
tell you, it was not fun. It was not fun at all.
No.
Right. And not just Disney, like, you know, basketball is opening. They're going to do their playoffs. I know baseball season is going to start. You know, I think, you know, it's a money issue. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of revenues have been lost because games have been canceled, because businesses have been shut down, vacation sites have been shut down. And so they want to recoup some of their losses. I mean, Disney is multi-million-dollar business. You know,
Right.
football is a multi-million-dollar business. Baseball is a multi-million. And it's so crazy to me is that, you know, some people say that, you know, when New York was going through their things and different things, that people should have handled their money better. So if something like this came about, they would have been prepared. However, you look at these major businesses that you would think that they have corporations and they have staffs that, you know, foresee, you know, the future, that they were no better prepared than we are for the reasons that they have to jump back in really before everything has settled.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's difficult, Grace, because Lady Grace, when you talk about, when this first happened, some people were like, open the country back up, open the country back up. And then you had people keep it clammed up and keep it clammed up. And it was hard really to determine what to do. And I discovered that a lot of the people who were saying, keep everything closed. Now you got a pension. You don't you got a pension. Your income has not changed. It has not been affected. And so a lot of the people that are saying, stay in the house, don't come out the house, it's like, you're secure. You have a pension. But there are a lot of people that were living from that don't have salary jobs, where when this hit,
from paycheck to paycheck,
they weren't still getting paid by New York State. They weren't still getting paid by, government or federal money. They lost jobs. And they still have to feed their children. So it's a tough call, open, close. It's been a tough call.
It has. And, for some of the restaurants and some of the businesses that has happened, even in New York, they had to close back down because COVID came in. And so it's always that fear. And as long as this particular disease is not going anywhere, this flu is not going anywhere, it can subside, like any flu, subside, but it has the ability to keep rising and stuff back up. And so I guess it's another thing we're gonna have to pray about, like Pastor Staten said. Prayer does change things.
Amen.
But I will tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I made an absolute decision that I was done with COVID. I was like, I'm open. If the nation ain't open, I'm open. I'm done. I called the spa and made me an appointment. I said, I don't care. I'm going to get relaxed. I'm going to get rubbed on. I'm going to live. I'm done not living.
Hide it out.
Make that decision. It's like,
I know. It's so crazy because
I'm
open for business.
It's so crazy that I'm looking at my time card, because I travel a lot. I'm looking at my time card. It's like, wow, look at my time. I'm building up on my time because I haven't been going anywhere. And so I told my husband the other day, I said, I'm finally getting antsy. I'm finally getting antsy. Like, I don't know where I gotta go, but I'm kind of getting antsy. But the governor said, not too many places we can go. Delaware is off limits. Delaware.
Wow.
So I guess I can go to Connecticut, Boston, Maine, the ones that was in it with us, But there's something else. It's something else. But we don't want to hold too long. We do have an awesome speaker with us today that's coming talking to us. Sister Flossie, Evangelist Flossie. Could you introduce her for us, please?
Yes. We have with us, so that's going to be with us, Yesenia MacArthur, and she is a credit coach. Just trying to get her bio up here, guys. Give me a moment. Okay, she's a credit coach, and Yesenia is a woman of God first, and a mother of three phenomenal human beings. A 21-year-old son, and 18-year-old twin daughters, believe it or not. She is a licensed realtor, and in 2018, 1 second, so sorry guys. Having a little trouble here with my information. Give me a minute. Technology. In 2018, she collaborated with an amazing company where she became a credit specialist that assisted people with getting their credit and financial matters in order. With over 20 years of experience, her knowledge in real estate and credit matters has assisted countless families. She has grown into a woman that now makes an impact on the lives of others. As a mentor, she influences others to become their version of the best them. We'd like to welcome to our show all Yesenia MacArthur. Let's give her a hand.
Hello. How are you doing today?
How is everyone doing this evening?
Awesome, awesome. Welcome to Soul Sisters.
Yeah,
I,
welcome.
I'm so grateful to be here. I gotta give
Welcome.
it back to you, Evangelist Flossie. Thank you for always thinking of me. Thank you for
You're very
always welcoming
welcome.
me to your platform. Lady Grace, I really do appreciate you. I feel privileged and honored to be as a part of this group tonight. So I am honored to be here.
Okay, so we know Flossie introduced us. Give us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, Flossie did read my bio. So, I am a single mother now. Those are the circumstances that wound up being afforded to me. I have three amazing children who I am very proud of. Like she said, a 21-year-old son, twin girls. I am a woman of God. I love God with all of my heart. Anybody that knows me knows that. I'm a praying woman. So, anybody that works with me is getting a woman of faith, from real estate transactions to credit transactions. I am going to coach you through, and it's a major faith walk. I really do mentor people from the beginning to the end. I've brought people down from anxiety to nervousness to fear and get them to go through their journey in a more positive and calm way as possible. And that's just me.
Okay, tell us what a credit coach does exactly.
So a credit coach educates. So we educate people on how to become credit healthy. A lot of people are afraid to know where they stand credit wise. Some people know that their credit is not well based on some choices they made in the past, and they kind of ignore it and they just use cash for everything. But what happens when you use cash for everything? You run cash low. It doesn't give you enough room to save. A lot of people, 56% of Americans don't even have $500 set aside. And we need emergency funds as little as $500 or $1,000. It's said that it's safe to, really, it's wise to have up to 6 to 12 months worth of monthly expenses set aside. So imagine people don't even have $500 set aside. And if people maximize their credit and can better leverage their credit in a very wise manner, they'd be able to save more cash.
Okay, give us some steps then. Give us some
Sure,
steps.
of course. So one of the first things I tell people, when it comes to your bills is set up as many bills as you can in auto pay. 35%
Really?
of how 35% of how your credit score is calculated is 35%, right? That's high. So you could make one late payment on a credit card and your score could be affected from anywhere to 20 to 100 points, depending on the credit card. It's scary. So while sometimes things happen, life happens, hardships happen, and sometimes late payments are due to some legitimate life situations, unfortunately, your credit score will be greatly affected. And unless you know how to properly correct the matter, because you do have rights as a consumer to correct lates on your credit report and some other negative items that could affect your score, unless you have the knowledge and the know-how, you'll always stay in a poor credit state.
You know,
Wow,
that's so
that's good.
crazy. I don't know about the other sisters, but I like control. And so for me to put automatic payment, it takes my control out my hands. I don't know. It's like,
So I always know, and I always tell people to, at minimum, put the minimum payment on auto pay, especially with credit cards. Credit cards are very tricky. One late payment, like I said, can affect your score like a crazy amount. And if you could at least set your minimum payment on auto pay until you can pay it down more, because typically you should always be at 30% of your credit limit. So to
okay.
simplify it, if you have a credit card of $1,000 on a month to month, you should never owe more than $300. If you have
I have a
if
question.
you have multiple credit cards, and let's say they accumulate to $10,000 as a whole, between the debt as a whole, your revolving debt shouldn't be more than $3,000. You always should stay at 30% or less. But in the event that your income that's coming in doesn't afford you to be able to pay it down to the max, you at minimum want to make sure that that minimum payment is paid on time every single month when it's due,
Awesome.
because that'll
Awesome.
always keep your credit balanced.
That's awesome.
And one more thing, with always paying your credit card payments on time, even if it is the minimum payment, you know that with credit cards, the APR is very high. So we'll make a purchase on a credit card, and we pay an X amount and we wind up owing so much more because the interest, if you're always paying the minimum payment, the interest keeps accumulating itself. But if you have a history of making your payment on time, you have now positioned yourself to make the phone call. And I've had people do it. You call the credit card company and you let them know, hey, listen, I've been making my payment for 12 months consecutively on time. I need to know what is the available APR today that I can get. Right now, I'm paying $24.99 on every purchase. I need to get something much lower. I've seen people go as low as 18.99 on their APR, which is great. And sometimes they'll do it for 6 months and they'll do it up to a year. But you
Awesome.
got to make the phone call and you got to know your rights.
Good information. Good information. Pastor Barbara, you was going to ask a question?
Yes, I think she hit on some of that. As you know, a lot of people has been affected with COVID-19 and their money is very limited. Is there any tips that you can share with the consumer that have, let's say they get this unemployment check and they have all these credit cards that need to be paid? What would you recommend them do? Do you recommend them make the phone call and see if they can prolong their payments? Do you recommend them pay the minimum? What would you suggest that a consumer can do during this time?
So now, are you asking me for people that possibly fell behind on their credit cards?
Yes, because they're no longer working,
Okay.
been laid off, and the funds are very limited.
Okay, so now if we have consumers that have fallen behind on any debt whatsoever, they have now kind of hurt their credit. So we know that off the bat. So my best advice to them is, yes, make the phone calls. See if the creditors, because a lot of the times what happens with consumers that fall behind, they just stop paying altogether. So if your credit card is still with the actual debtor that has it, like let's say, for instance, you have a credit card with Capital One or you have a credit card with Chase or Bank of America, and you fell behind with them a little bit and they have not been sent off to collections, they have not been sent off to charge off, you want to call them and say, hey, listen, I want to at least start making my minimum payment. And then what you do is, if you want to, you would get in touch with me because you want to get any late payments that happened during the hardship time corrected. That will be the best way to get your score back up to what it once was.
Okay. And I just want to let Facebook know at the end she's going to give her information that you can definitely reach out and contact her. She free consultations, I believe that she does do, absolutely. So at the end we're going to give her information, her email, and things like that. So you could definitely reach out and get in contact with her. Okay. So what else do you have to share with us tonight?
So for anyone on here that has that knows how to kind of keep their credit good, and you have those old accounts that you paid off, but they have long history, don't ever close an account. It's good to pay it off because you want to become debt free. A lot of people have the mindset, I want to be debt free. I want to be debt free. But credit history is major to your credit. So if you ever pay a debt down, do not close it, because it makes you even that much more credit worthy, that you have established credit that's still open that you have no need for. Okay,
right.
Out can take your score down.
Okay. That's good information, because a lot of times as people have paid off their cards, they shut the credit down. So you should really leave it open. I think because the more access you have to a credit and you're not using it, I think that makes your score go up, correct?
It keeps your score up and it makes you look credit worthy for whenever you want to go anywhere to do anything, whether it's to get a car. When you have a higher credit score, you have this confidence about you. You get to walk into the car dealership and make your demands. You don't get the car salesman cannot tell you this is what you're going to walk away with at this payment. You get to say, this is what I want today, and I'm not paying anything more than this, and here's why. So when you know who you are and what you stand for, and that your credit score is high, trust me, you can make your demands. A great credit score, a healthy credit score positions you for low interest rates even on your credit cards, like I said before. So it's important to stay credit healthy. You want to, and I say that all the time. It's not a matter of, oh, let's have good credit, let's have good credit. We have to be credit healthy, and that means in the event life happens, because it will, and your credit is affected at some point or another, you are now properly educated on how to maximize it again. And
right.
you're not stuck and lost
Okay.
I want
So
to
what if
ask a
somebody is between
question.
what if someone is between, what do I want to say? Building a egg nest, like you said, 6 months,
Mm,
and or
mm.
paying off their credit cards. What should be, the priority here?
So for
Ah.
well, now you're kind of tapping into budgeting. So if you're trying to create an egg nest, right, and you're trying to pay down debt, the first thing you want to do, honestly, is take your last 3 months of your bank statements and see where your money's been going consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Because there has to be a process of elimination of things that are not worth spending your money on. A lot of the times we're not able to save because we're swiping at Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, Panera Bread, tropical
Amazon is getting
smoothie,
it.
right? And we don't
Amazon.
Amazon, we're constantly using the card, and we don't realize that we're spending a lot of money on stuff that's not bearing us any fruit. And then we wonder why we can't put aside $50 every week or $25 every day, every week. So really start off with your 3 months bank statements, print it up to see where your money's been going, because we have to properly allocate our funds. We have to properly give our money assignments and take away from a little bit of the stuff that's really just depleting us. Because if you want to save, you're going to have to eliminate on some things.
Right. I know personally, during this pandemic, I haven't been leaving the house naturally. So going to work, I always used to get a cup of coffee, Dunkin' Donuts here, Dunkin' Donuts here, Dunkin' Donuts here. And I find that staying home, I have saved so much money. I was like, how am I saving so much money? It's because I'm not going to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm not going to the drive-through. I'm not, you get the munchies at work. You go
Right.
upstairs, you get a bag of potato chips, and they're like $1.25. Then you get a soda or another coffee. Sometimes I'm not even hungry, and I'm just getting it just to help the day go by. And it's amazing that just staying home, how much then is, I'm just saying from your advice, and see what I was spending that extra money on, and that extra money could have been going towards something else.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know for you
Yeah.
all, and for everyone that's watching, but when I was home, because I'm actually back to like the workforce and everything, so I'm back out again. But when we were quarantined, me and my 3 adult children, my grocery bill was
God.
it was horrendous. I said, what is going on here? My son drinks a half a gallon carton juice by himself in a day. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Oh my
Go to
goodness.
sleep. So in that area, I did do a lot of spending with the groceries. But I did eliminate the drive-through swiping and all that stuff. And you brought up Dunkin' Donuts a few months back, and I don't know how I never knew about this. The way I started to save with Dunkin' Donuts, because I love a latte from Dunkin' Donuts every single morning, especially now that I'm back to the workforce, I downloaded their app. And this app's been around for years, and I just learned about it last year. And I'm like, how have I been buying Dunkin' Donuts all this time? So now for every couple of cups of coffee, I get a free coffee. So you save, a little bit here and there. So that's something good to do.
Yeah, Pastor Cynthia said her Manny and Petty, we saved a lot of money from going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, how many of us, right? How many of us said, I'm not spending money on this? Because Manny and Petty's is every 2 weeks. Now, for those of us that always keep our nails up to par, Manny and Petty is every 2 weeks. How many of us put that money away?
Yeah.
That would have been able to position you on start to save.
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question.
Sure.
So what credit card would you suggest? When I went to college, my first year in college is when I literally destroyed my credit without knowledge, because I got into college and I received a credit card application from American Express. I had no idea that all I saw when I opened that envelope was a credit card and the word unlimited. And let me tell you, I tested that unlimited theory, and I charged my heart out, and I did not know that I was going to have to pay that money back at the end of the month.
Wow.
And so I just want to say, for parents who are out here that have high schoolers, 12th graders, first year students that are going to college this year, what is a recommended credit card? How does a parent help their teenagers begin to establish firm credit?
So no credit card is recommended for them. If there's a parent watching this live and you are already credit healthy, the best thing for you to do is add your child as an authorized user to your already established credit.
You hear that, Pastor C?
Are you serious?
Give them access. No, I guess you're saying that because you can monitor their spending, right?
Yeah.
You
So,
give them
right.
an unlimited card?
No, she's saying give them access to your credit, make them a creditor on your account, and that way you know what they're purchasing because the bill comes up to you and you can monitor them and say, no, that's not acceptable, right?
Right. So like I have a great relationship with my 21-year-old son. So I did give him the credit card that I added him as an authorized user on a couple of years ago when he first started going to college. And he literally would call me, Mom, I'm getting ready to use the card for XYZ. Of course, he didn't pay nothing on the bill. I paid it. But he asked. You know, I trusted him enough. That's why I gave it to the card. But I tell a lot of people that I do business with, you know your own child, you know their discipline status, you know what they're capable of. You don't have to give them the card. We're talking about you positioning your child to now have excellent credit. They don't literally have to use the credit at all. What you're already using and paying on is establishing their credit history. So
right,
of adding my
right, that is true.
Yeah, so you don't ever have to even give them the card. So that's the best advice for parents. And then as they get a little bit older, they graduate college, they can go ahead and apply for a card. Capital One has a lot of amazing cards for people that are first starting out. For someone that doesn't have credit at all, so if there's a parent watching and you don't have healthy credit and you're saying, well, I can't add my kid on my credit because it's not going to help them any, you want to get them a secured card. Open up a bank account for them at a local bank and then get them a secured card and have them put $200, $250, whatever the requirement is with them, and start using it for gas, and then pay the bill when you get it. Pay it, and that'll start building positive credit.
Okay. So I want to ask, I know our time is going on. I just want to ask a lot of people, I know it's an excellent time to get mortgages. The interest rates are pretty low right now. Some people may not have bad credit, but it's kind of mediocre. I guess I'm looking for what is a good score, because a lot of people don't know what a good score is. What is a good score versus mediocre score? What is the score you need to really get a house? And how do you take yourself from, I guess, mediocre to house worthy, I know you said 12 months with, paying on time and stuff, but 12 months, we don't know what the interest rate is going to be. How can we expedite this? Yeah.
So let's say someone's watching and you don't have credit. So the lowest credit score you can have is a 300. The highest credit score you can have is an 850, right? Anything in between is considered average good credit. So a 620 can get you a mortgage. But you got to make sure that there's not anything detrimental on your credit, because at a 620, you probably have something negative on your credit report that can affect you from actually getting the full approval. So for more details, obviously, they would want to get in touch with me so we could really see where they stand. Because if you have the higher credit score, you're positioning yourself for the lower interest rate, because these low interest rates that are out there for those that actually qualify for them.
Right,
Very careful. The low interest rates are there, but when you go and sit with a loan officer, if you're not as credit worthy to obtain the lower interest rates, you want to position yourself for that. So, we don't want to get too deep into the credit repair aspect. But for someone that does need help, if they trust me and the process for anywhere between 4 to 6 months, I can position them to make sure that they become credit worthy to become a homeowner and benefit from the market that's about to take place.
Awesome. That's good news. That's good. Definitely good news. Anyone else have any questions? I don't want to ask them all.
And Larissa, I think, just shared a comment. You can get a free copy of your credit report. You absolutely can.
Right.
Annualcreditreport.com. You can get a free copy of your credit report. I tell people, pull your credit report. If you see anything on there that you think is not yours, any type of errors that you are not aware of, talk to me. I do free consultations. So you can call me, we can talk. I've advised people without even them signing up to the plan. I've given them advice on what to do, and they've seen the results. They've seen the results in the advice that I've given them.
Yesenia, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Number one, is this, would you say, a good time to buy? And then number two, with people that have mediocre to average credit? What would you suggest that they do, or what programs are out there for them?
So this is a great time to buy. And for someone that's never bought before, they can most likely get an FHA loan, the Federal Housing Administration loan. That's the lower down payment loan. They can get a seller's concession. There's a lot of things that they can kind of benefit from that I can go into more detail with them once I speak to them. But it is a good time to buy. Yes, it is.
Okay.
My question was, gosh, what was that question? Sometimes people have a extended credit. I mean, not extended. Maybe they have what I'm trying to say. They have exhausted their credit, meaning they have good credit. However, their credit in debt, meaning they maximized a lot of their cards and stuff. So if they were in that kind of situation and they wanted to come down, what would be some of the things that you would suggest for them to get out of that credit debt? I mean, maybe they're making all those minimum payments and, you know, all of that. So their credit is good, but they can't get a house or whatever because they have too much credit out there.
Right. So there is a tool within the plan that we place our customers on that actually helps people to pay down debt. If you don't come on the plan, the best way to get a handle on your credit card debt is look at your credit card debt. You're maxed out on all of them. Focus on one card at a time. If you've always made your payment on time, make that call to the credit card company. Ask about your APR, ask how low it can go for a few months. And then you focus on paying that card down. And you accelerate the payment. If your minimum payment is $35, squeeze another $40 in there a month. Start paying that credit card down, because I think what happens is people get overwhelmed and they say, I'm maxed out on my credit cards. And realistically, you're not going to pay all your credit cards down at the same time. You got to focus on one at a time. And if you focus on one, pay the minimum payment on the rest, accelerate the payment on one of them, you'll start to pay it down realistically.
Right.
And
Should you start
boosting your score as well?
Should you start paying the one with the lowest, highest interest rate offers, or the one that's the lowest card? Maybe you maxed out, one is 1,000, another is 10,000. Should you pay the one with the less debt or the highest APR?
So whichever is quicker to get it down to 30% of the credit line.
Oh, okay.
Because you know your financial situation. You know how much you can be stretched every month. You know, so that's why I said whenever you're going to pay down debt, you got to see where your money's been going every month. Because if you're spending $50 worth on coffee, maybe you need to cut it down to 25 and start applying that 25 to one of the credit cards. Additionally, payment. So you got to eliminate to add. There always has to be a process of elimination, because unless you're going to go out and create more income, you got to eliminate what you're already doing.
We have some questions, and some people have asked, what about refinancing or debt consolidation? What do you think about things like that?
You know, I don't personally recommend debt consolidation. I think that you should realistically get a handle on your debt. And we could talk about that. Does refinancing work against you? If you refinance on your mortgage, it doesn't technically work against you. I'm not really sure if I got their question right. So if you refinance your mortgage because you qualify to, maybe to lower your payment, no, that doesn't work against you.
Okay. What about these credit companies that call you and stuff and want you to use their service to consolidate your, not consolidate, but to pay off your credit cards, and you have to like destroy all your cards and they'll make the payments for you? What is that a scheme or something?
I don't think it's even legitimate. I still recommend it. Those loans have very high interest rates. And if you're already struggling to pay down the minimum payment on each of your cards, trust me, you're going to struggle to pay that installment loan back. So you should get a handle on your current debt. I wouldn't consolidate the debt and have to pay that higher payment. When they consolidate the debt, they consolidate everything as a whole. You get the bigger loan at a bigger monthly payment a month.
Right.
You got to be realistic about it.
Right. Somebody in the room is asking about student loan. What if you have large student loan debts?
Okay, so you have to definitely, I mean, we have an amazing debt payoff tool. I personally know someone that paid $80,000 worth of student loan debt in less than 18 months using our debt payoff tool.
Wow, so I'm going to give you a call.
Without breaking the bank.
If anyone drowning.
Listen, without breaking the bank.
One of my
It's done without, and you still can eat every day, and you still can live in a house.
Yeah, well, one of my business partners. So, if they want to learn more about that, they could definitely reach out to me.
Awesome, awesome. You hear that, guys? Give her a call. Student loans, student loans, student loans. You know, it sounds like to me that it takes discipline. You know, sound like it takes discipline. I was thinking as you were speaking, you know, I like going to the gym. This is when the gym was open. But, you know, I really wanted the results without putting the time in. You know what I'm saying? And so what I found is, like, when you go and you put the time in, you become disciplined. And so then when you have the results, it's the result of discipline. And a lot of times we want a high credit score and we want to be able to go buy what we want to buy, house, car, or whatever, but we don't want the discipline. We're trying to get it fast. But I guess in life, everything, you know, from the physical to the natural and really to the spiritual, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, I want to lay hands, I want to cast out devils, I want to make a church, you know, but nobody want to do the fundamental steps. You know, Jake said it one time, I heard a long time ago, this is several years ago, it was like, you know, you people want what I have, but they haven't been in my shoes. You know, he in the back hills of Virginia or whatever, him preaching in a storefront church, him being a Sunday school teacher, you know, the driver, preaching, testimony service leader. He did all of that. So he just didn't make that overnight success. And so we see the muscles of today. However, we didn't see him in the process. And I guess credit is the same way. If you want something, you have to go through the process to get the victory in the end.
Absolutely. You got to trust the process. You got to start the process, trust the process to see the results.
That's the key. Start it.
Anything else you have for us? What are some of
the start it?
What are some of the other questions that mainly comes to you from different people concerning credit and stuff like that?
So a lot of people, because I'm a realtor, I get a lot of questions about, you know, what are the steps I need to take to become a homeowner? How much money do I need to have saved up as far as down payment? So if anybody has questions like that, you want to always make sure you have a minimum of 3.5% of whatever purchase price that you're looking for. Because if you're a first-time home buyer, you're probably going to be looking for an FHA loan, which is the lower down payment, and it kind of positions you for some other good stuff. So you want to have 3.5% of your own money saved up. It can be a gift from a family member, which is great. So if you have a very loving family member that says, hey, listen, you're buying a house, I'm willing to give you your down payment. If they have that amount of money seasoned in their bank account, that money can be used. It would need to be properly sourced at the time that we need it. But that is a way that you can acquire your down payment for a house.
Now, I was told that you can't take a gift when you're buying a house. Is that you can with an FDA and not on other terms?
Yes, you can get a gift with FHA. You absolutely can get a gift from your family member. It has to be a family member. Absolutely.
Okay, but on a regular mortgage, can you get a gift?
Well, FHA is a regular mortgage. If you're looking at conventional mortgage,
yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah, if you're depending on the type of loan that you're going to be going for, there's definitely gray areas around the gifts that are allowed. So it's not a full percent gift that you can get, but you would get into that depending on the mortgage that you're going to be going after. The loan officer would be able to give you more details on that.
Okay. So what about a conventional mortgage? What should you expect to have as a down payment?
Well, typically for a conventional mortgage, if you don't want to pay the private mortgage insurance, you want to have 20% available to buy.
Okay. 20% available. Anything else that we should be asking when we talk about credit score? And getting a better credit?
If you're listening and you know your current credit situation, and a lot of the times credit is very tricky. People are very private when it comes to their credit. But if you're listening and you know your credit situation and you have charge-offs or collections or medical bills, child support, you want to talk to me. You want to definitely talk to me. Medical bills should not be in your credit report. So those are things that can be properly and legally disputed. So if you know your credit situation, you know you are not currently credit worthy or credit healthy, you want to definitely reach out to me because there's help. I want people to know that there's help when it comes to your credit health. I don't want you to be, in depression, anxiety. I mean, poor credit score really causes people to be nervous, anxious, scared, shameful. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Bad credit happens to great people because life happens. We can't stop life from happening. I mean, people go through divorces and lose, set of incomes in their household. So all of this stuff affects people's credit, the income that comes in. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. There's help, and I want to help you.
Right. And it's important because we think of credit when we go out and purchase a house or or a car, but credit affects housing, where you can live. It affects car insurance, what kind of rates you get. It can affect life insurance. And so we just think like, I don't need credit, or some jobs, absolutely. And so, nowadays it's not like, when we were young, when I was in college too, I think, or when I was young, just getting new credit, not necessarily in college, a lot of us did not understand credit. I remember when I was young, right out of high school, I got these cards and I was like, I had credit. I was like, okay, every store I went to, I was like, boom, 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 redid my house, got shoes, coats, and didn't understand because it's crazy how you go through 12 years of school and nobody really tells you or explain, about credit and being credit conscious and credit healthy. So you said you had a son. He went to school. You gave him your credit. What kind of conversations did you have with your children as they were growing to make them more credit conscious?
So with my kids, from the second they understood credit, money, all of that, I always told them, listen, I'm going to be positioning you guys to have excellent credit. There is absolutely no co-signing. If anyone even gets a glimpse or understands that you have great credit score, you are not co-signing for nobody to go to get a car. I don't care how much they love you, how much of a BFF they are to you.
No co-signing.
No co-signing. You are liable for any debt that you put your name on. If something happens to that person's job or whatever have you, you become liable and your credit will be affected. My son has a very, very healthy credit score, and he's only 21. And he gets excited. Sometimes he runs his credit just to look at the score through like an app that we have. It's not a hard pull, so it doesn't affect his score. It just kind of gives him his update. And he gets super excited. And then he's like sharing with people like, what's your credit score? And guys, you need good credit. And, it's awesome to even see it. It's awesome to see it. And he doesn't have his own credit card yet. He's literally built his credit off of me. Marcel has great credit because of building off of me. I'll let him get his first credit card. When he graduates college next year, he can apply for one of the better credit cards. And of course, I'll teach him how to keep it managed well and all that.
Okay. Because I'm saying you obviously had confidence in him when you gave him your card. So you already probably raised him with respect to money, I'm sure.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I know my child. So one of the twins, I would not give her a credit card.
Okay.
You know your children.
I know my kids.
You know your children.
Yes. And, she'll be like, Mommy, that's not fair. No, but I know you. And so you got to know your children. You got to know what they stand for, how responsible they are, because we love our children and we're pro our children because I love my kids, but we know our kids.
But this is so good, so good, because I'm going to tell you, I did not even know that I had a credit score until I was like 23, 24 years old. And I don't know, I'm out here, I'm trying to purchase a house. And that's how I found out about credit reports. When, I went and put money down on a house and kept getting turned down by bank after bank after bank. And they kept saying to me, your credit score, your credit score. I said, I don't even know what that is. And then when they, my realtor actually helped me pull a copy of my credit score. And I was like, oh my God, they've been tracking me. I didn't even know they were tracking my spending all of this time. And so it's so important, we were, it's unfortunate. This generation is so blessed because they have so much information at their disposal. We didn't learn all of this stuff growing up that you had to your credit report. We took the hard knocks. We learned by trial and error. So it's so good what you're saying about, teaching our kids, how to protect their credit going forward.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else you want to?
I want to
Yeah,
add
can you
something.
guys hear
Can you
me?
hear me? Everybody can hear me pretty good?
Okay.
I remember when I was 23 years old and my husband and I, we was newly married and we was getting ready to purchase a home. I think it was one of those USDA homes during that time. And you had to have very good credit. And so when you was talking about nobody is to use your name, well, I had somebody in New York had my social. I don't know how she got my social security number. Well, she turned on lights in my name and didn't pay the debt.
Wow.
And so young people out there, you need to understand you can't give your social security number or lay it out loosely because people can get that information.
That's right.
And then they could turn their lights on, water, cable, everything according to that social security number. So my addition to this is to ask you, do you recommend that people, whoever, to freeze their credit for identity?
Well,
So
what is freeze credit? I don't know what freeze credit is.
And you can freeze it.
So you can freeze credit bureaus. You can actually contact a credit bureau and freeze your credit. You don't have to do that if you have a tool that is monitoring your identity and monitoring your credit. There are tools out there. The plan that we place customers on actually comes with those tools at no additional cost. But there are tools out there that protect your identity, which you'll literally get an alert. Your social's just been used. You will get alerts. So I recommend that more than freezing your credit. You shouldn't have to freeze your credit. Yeah.
Last year, I don't know if this is on all the different agencies that do credit reporting, but last year I still use Equifax. I know some people use Credit Karma, but I'm kind of still old school. I use, freecreditreport.com and Equifax. But they offered a feature, and I use it, where you can actually lock your credit report. And so even if somebody tried to apply for credit, it wouldn't show what your credit score is. And so I actually locked mine. And about 6 or 7 months ago, I wanted to apply for something, and I had to go and unlock it. Right. So what do you think about that feature?
That's fine. I mean, I'm not saying that the feature is can't be used or shouldn't be used. If you have full access to locking it and unlocking it, that's perfectly fine. I think you could do that with all three bureaus if you're logged into either of them: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian.
You know what's really, really funny thinking about all of this stuff, just on a lighter note? I just remember there was a time in my life where I was like, go ahead, take my social security number. You ain't getting nothing. I'm maxed out. But once you learn and you grow, you be hovering over your credit report like,
no. You want to protect it, yes. Yes. When you have a healthy credit score, you want to keep it protected for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We kind of wounding up right now. And so I know we probably didn't answer all questions. Is there anything else that you think that, the viewers should know about credit and how to be credit conscious, and along with giving us your information? I did put your website on but I don't know whether you have anything else that you would like to share with our public viewers.
Well, again, honestly, pay your bills on time. Keep your credit under 30% of whatever your high credit limit is. Have a good mix of credit. So you want to have the revolving debt, which is your credit cards, and you want to have your installment loans, which is your car loans, your mortgage if you're not a homeowner yet. Those are installment loans. So you want to have a good mix of credit. That makes you credit wealthy. And if you're always paying your bills on time, you're always going to maximize your score. And
okay, how can they contact you? How can we reach you?
So I'm on Facebook as Yesenia MacArthur. I'm not sure if you can share that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying right now. 1 second, okay. Let me type it. Okay.
And you can find me on IG, Instagram as ym_favored_faith.
Okay, let me get that in 1 second. It's ym_.
No, ym favored, all one word.
Oh, favor. Okay.
Favored. Yep. Favored.
Yep.
And then _faith.
Faith. Okay. I got that. That's on Instagram.
That's on Instagram. And then my phone number is 516-677.
1 second. 1 second. Let me put that in. 516.
673-8012.
There we go.
It's good.
It was awesome. Anyone else have any questions? We still have a couple more minutes. Any?
Yep. If anyone has any questions, I'd be glad
Flossie,
to.
we haven't heard from you too much.
I think because I've been having technical difficulties.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, no
Good.
problem.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. We really, 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 really appreciate it. I know, even after tonight, I'm sure several people or more people are going to be logging on because this is awesome. A lot of people, don't understand credit and don't understand why they need to know their credit score. Some people are scared to even look it up. It's kind of like, I know people that won't go get breast exams because they're scared they might get something. I don't know. They just scared to go get a breast exam. And so instead of just facing it and going to get the exam so they could do something, if something happened and survive, they could rather stay in the closet. And I think credit is kind of like that sometimes. It's like people don't want to go and open the closet because they're scared what they find, but it might not be that bad and it might be curable if you just take your chances and open it up and go look at it. So that's what my suggestion is today. Open that closet, look at that thing. If we want to live a better life, as much as we say, plant a seed, give. You can plant those seeds and give all you want, but if you don't have that balance in credit, you can't build an empire on bad credit. You just can't do it. So no matter how many seeds you plant, you can't build that empire if you haven't got yourself disciplined to pay bills, be organized, and do what you got to do. And when you do those specific things, that greater is automatically coming because you're building yourself to wealth through your credit scores.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you once again. We appreciate you. We appreciate our sisters. Good night, all. We love you. Oh, let me just say this. Next week is just going to be the sisters on. We're going to have a chat and talk between ourselves. We hope you come out and join us. And then a week following, July 25th, we're going to have Teresa Smith. Awesome. And she's a money coach. So we keeping it going. So we had today we talked about credit. The next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about how to save and build wealth. Okay, how to save and build wealth with money coach Teresa Smith. So we're expecting great things and hearing great information the next 2 weeks. We hope that you enjoyed us. Be blessed and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Good.